soothing, like he should take up ASMR and, you know. Why, hello there YouTube, and welcome back to 31. So, it's a new week, so a new theme, and this week we are, it is 90s week. So, I'm doing horror movie review every day in the build up to Halloween. I'm not the only one doing this. I'm a 13th Wolfman does this every year. Retro horror, Tony has 9 fingers, so many of us are all in on this, so, be sure to just check it all out. So, 90s week. So for the next 7 days, because it's a full week, I'm going to be reviewing horror movies that were, well, from the 90s, the 1990s. Usually I would always have at least a few that would not be made in that decade, but filmed in that decade. But you know what, this year I've just gone all proper 90s releases and that. So yeah, let's begin 90s week. So I'm kicking it off with the 1992 classic Candyman. So of course we all know this is based on the short story The Forbidden from Clive Barker, which features in his Book of Blood series, where we see Candyman, which in the short story is actually depicted as a man with a multicoloured coat, blue lips, blonde hair, and a hook. Basically try and picture Colin Baker's Sixth Doctor with a hook. But in this movie adaptation, which was written and directed by Bernard Rose, he rewrites the Candyman as a man with a tragic backstory, which was like, we find out that Candyman, of course, is a vengeful spirit who, was a fine painter and was instructed with painting his master's daughter, and he had a relationship with her, and when he found out, he had an angry mob attack him, smear honey over his body, cut his hand off, ram a hook in the stub, and he would be stung to death, where they would make him look at his own demise in a mirror and say Candyman 5 times. Which means if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he will come and kill you. So in this film, we follow, student Helen Lyle, who is doing a thesis on urban legends, and she, comes across the Candyman legend and looks into that and goes to the area, Cabrini Green, which was the place where Daniel Robitaille, Candyman, was, where he would become the vengeful spirit. And of course, Cabrini Green is a rundown area, and it's just, and Helen and her friends, well, her friend, what's her name? Bernadette, go out, looking around on this, even do the whole dare thing where they say his name 5 times in the mirror. And yeah, Helen goes deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole and makes the discovery that Candyman is real. But the Candyman has a fascination with her, like, he's enchanted by her and wants her to be his victim. And in the end, when the community are setting a massive bonfire. There's a baby that Candyman has taken, and she goes into the fire to save the child, but burns and meets her own demise. As for her cheating husband, Trevor, he then feels regret as he moves in with the student he was having an affair with and says her name, Helen, 5 times in the mirror, and then she kills him, as she now becomes, with the Candyman. Of course, this film would go on to start a franchise with a sequel, then a direct-to-video sequel, and then in 2021 we'd eventually get that requel, which is a spiritual sequel to the first movie, ignoring all the other 2 before, but after the first one, like they did with Halloween, requel, which was just as good, where they change up the mythology of Candyman as well. But we're talking about the original here from 1992. So what did I like about this? Well, I liked the cameo we got from Ted Raimi in this, in a flashback scene or a story scene where they were telling about the Candyman. I also thought Virginia Madsen was great in this. Now, her character was originally written for Bernard Rose's wife, but she fell pregnant during the production, so they had to get a new leading actress. One woman in mind was Sandra Bullock, but she turned it down, so they got Virginia Madsen. And I can't really picture anyone else playing Helen. I mean, she was beautiful, and, I just liked her character. And then, of course, there was Tony Todd, the titled character himself. What can I say about this? Well, in the opening, the opening credits, we see, like, Chicago, from like a drone perspective as the music plays, and then we get that introduction of like Candyman's voice, and then we get the whole bees thing. I don't know what it is about Candyman, but I find his voice soothing, like he should take up ASMR. And I kind of understand his motives, why he does what he does, why he's a vengeful soul. Because at the end of the day, he was made out of racism and hatred, and just wanted to, be a human and be in love. But given the time that he was living in, where it was slavery times, he couldn't. But I like the on-screen chemistry between Tony Todd and Virginia Madsen. Also, that bee scene. Now, I'm sure a lot of horror fans will know this, but in case you don't know, Tony Todd held real bees in his mouth when he filmed that scene. They were newborn bees or newly made bees. They were about less than a day old, and he put them in his mouth, had a guard though so he doesn't swallow, but he got paid $1,000 per sting, and I think at the end of the shoot he was stung 15 times. Made a lot of money. Virginia Madsen, she said she was allergic to bees because she didn't want to get stung, but the fact that they went practical with that and not CGI, I think was, very well done. And I thought, yeah, great. Also, the soundtrack and the score. God, that has a beautiful soundtrack. The theme song, not the theme song, the theme tune, the music. It's just, this I feel is a beautifully made horror film, and it's just, nicely done, a beautiful score, and I was watching throughout, enjoying it, and yeah, and Tony Todd in his performance, I believe this, he did a couple of stuff before, like he was Ben in the Night of the Living Dead remake. But I think this, was the one that cemented him in the horror genre, making him a horror icon from there on. But, yes, I watched this film and I never grow tired of watching it. It's just that good. So anyway, I've gone on enough about it. Now let's get on to my ratings. I will give Candyman 5 stabs out of 5. So there you go. There is my review for today from Candyman, and that is day 1 of 90s week. So you can watch my first week, Cushing and Lee week, that I've done so far, all the series, and yeah, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check it all out. I usually upload reviews, videos like sort of every other Friday or so, but it's October, the Halloween season. I'm uploading daily. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for more 90s Week. So until then, don't have nightmares.